For centuries, humanity has wondered about the ultimate fate of the Ark of the Covenant. But a second, massive question naturally arises. What happened to the rest of the unimaginable gold and sacred artifacts of God's holy house? When the ruthless Roman legions completely destroyed Jerusalem in 70 AD, they carried away treasures of vast, unquantifiable wealth, the Golden Menorah, the sacred table. But what happened to them after they vanished into the Roman Empire? This is not just a tale of lost gold, but an intricate puzzle connecting the Bible, ancient Roman politics, and hidden Vatican vaults. Could the legendary treasures of the temple still exist in secret today? To trace this gold, we must travel back to the catastrophic year of 70 AD. The holy city of Jerusalem was surrounded by 4 brutal Roman legions, determined to crush the fierce Jewish rebellion once and for all. Led by Titus, the son of the emperor, the Roman war machine battered the massive stone defense walls for months, causing widespread starvation and absolute desperation inside the holy city. Finally, the Roman soldiers breached the inner walls and poured into the sacred courts. Despite strict orders to preserve the magnificent temple architecture, a furious soldier threw a burning torch inside. The fire spread instantly. The vast amounts of pure gold covering the wooden walls melted from the extreme heat, trickling down into the deep crevices between the massive foundation stones. Roman soldiers, driven by absolute greed, tore the sacred temple apart stone by stone to scrape out the hardened gold, completely fulfilling Jesus' famous prophecy that not one stone would be left upon another. But the melted gold was only a small fraction of the wealth. The true historical value lay within the holy place itself, where the most sacred artifacts of Judaism had been guarded for generations. The greatest of these treasures was the solid gold menorah, a magnificent 7-branched lampstand beaten from a single talent of pure gold, representing the eternal presence of God's light. Alongside it stood the Table of Showbread, entirely covered in pure gold, and the sacred silver trumpets used by the Levitical priests to signal holy days and assemble the tribes of Israel. The Roman legions plundered everything. The ancient historian Flavius Josephus, who witnessed the tragedy, recorded that the massive volume of gold brought into Syria caused the local price of gold to drop by half. For Titus and his father, Emperor Vespasian, this plunder was a massive political triumph. The wealth stolen from the Jewish temple would fund the stabilization of the entire crumbling Roman Empire. In fact, modern archaeological research has revealed that the construction of the famous Roman Colosseum was entirely funded by the massive treasures looted from the destruction of Jerusalem. The victory was celebrated with one of the grandest military parades in Roman history. Thousands of captives were marched through the crowded streets of the capital as living trophies of war. But the ultimate highlight of the grand procession was the display of the holy vessels. For the first time in history, pagan eyes stared directly at the secret, sacred items of the God of Israel. This incredible historic moment was carved into solid marble, leaving behind undeniable archaeological evidence that still stands in the city of Rome today, the Arch of Titus. When you look closely at the weathered stone relief, you can clearly see the distinct shape of the 7-branched golden menorah and the sacred Table of Showbread being carried away by the soldiers. This stone carving serves as an absolute historical timestamp, proving without a shadow of a doubt that the holy treasures survived the fire of Jerusalem and successfully arrived in the capital of the empire. Following the Grand Triumph Parade, Emperor Vespasian built a magnificent complex to celebrate his victory and store his vast collection of global artifacts, the Temple of Peace. The Golden Menorah and the sacred temple vessels were placed inside this grand building, acting as the ultimate symbols of Rome's absolute dominance over the nations and their gods. For over 100 years, the treasures remained secure in the heart of Rome, admired by historians and citizens alike as the ultimate spoils of the Jewish war. But peace never lasts forever. In the late 2nd century, a devastating fire tore through the Temple of Peace, destroying most of the structure. Did the sacred golden vessels melt in the flames, or were they saved in time? Some historians believe the treasures were moved multiple times during the chaos that followed the fire, making their trail almost impossible to reconstruct today. Every transfer created new opportunities for theft, secret storage, and disappearance, turning the temple treasures into one of history's greatest treasure hunts. Historical records indicate that the most valuable imperial treasures were successfully evacuated through underground tunnels by the palace guard before the roof collapsed, keeping them safe. But the true test for the treasures came when the mighty Roman Empire began to collapse from within, leaving the capital completely vulnerable to brutal barbarian invasions from the north. In 455 AD, the Vandals, a fierce Germanic tribe, brutally sacked the city of Rome. They spent 14 days systematically looting the imperial palaces, stripping away everything of value. The ancient historian Procopius explicitly recorded that among the massive plunder taken by the Vandals onto their ships was the famous golden treasure of the Jewish temple. The treasures were shipped across the Mediterranean to Carthage, the Vandal capital. Decades later, the Byzantine Empire conquered Carthage and moved the treasures once again, this time to Constantinople. In Constantinople, Emperor Justinian looked at the ancient Jewish vessels and felt a deep spiritual fear. Believing the gold carried a divine curse that destroyed any empire that held it, he made a decision. Justinian reportedly ordered the sacred objects to be sent back to the holy city of Jerusalem, distributing them among various Christian churches. And right here, the official historical trail goes cold. When the Persian Empire and later the Islamic Caliphates conquered Jerusalem in the 7th century, the temple treasures were nowhere to be found. They had completely vanished from historical records. This historical void gave birth to some of the most fascinating and compelling conspiracy theories of the modern era, leading straight to the heart of the world's most secretive institution. Some researchers and alternative historians passionately believe that the treasures never actually left Rome permanently or were secretly brought back during the Crusades, ending up deep inside the Vatican's secret archives. For centuries, persistent rumors have claimed that the Golden Menorah sits hidden in a secret, heavily guarded underground vault beneath Rome, completely locked away from the eyes of the public. In fact, in modern history, multiple prominent Jewish leaders and rabbis have officially petitioned the Vatican, requesting access to search the subterranean chambers for the looted vessels. However, mainstream historians and church officials strongly disagree with this theory. They state that there is absolutely no conclusive evidence supporting the survival of the intact gold through the Dark Ages. Most scholars conclude that the sacred objects were likely melted down centuries ago by various barbarian kings to pay for campaigns, transforming the holy gold into unrecognizable coins. Yet the absence of proof has done nothing to kill the mystery. According to biblical tradition, the sacred vessels must be present in Jerusalem before a prophetic third temple can be built. If the treasures are not in Rome, a second powerful theory takes us back to the rugged deserts of Israel, suggesting they never left the Holy Land in the first place. Before the outer walls of Jerusalem collapsed to the Romans, secret groups of priests reportedly hid the most sacred artifacts in deep, underground caves beneath the Temple Mount. This theory is strongly supported by an incredible archaeological discovery made in the 20th century near the Dead Sea, the famous Copper Scroll. Unlike the other spiritual scrolls found in Qumran, the Copper Scroll is a literal treasure map, listing over 60 secret locations where massive amounts of gold and silver were hidden. The text explicitly mentions sacred items from the tabernacle and the temple. However, The directions are written in highly cryptic riddles, making it completely impossible to decode. Could the real Golden Menorah be sitting untouched, just a few hundred feet beneath the modern streets of Jerusalem, waiting for the perfect prophetic moment to be revealed to the world? The search for these treasures is not just about historical curiosity or archaeology. It is a direct countdown to the fulfillment of major end times prophecies. The Book of Revelation and the words of the prophets look forward to a restored nation, a process that many believe requires the reconsecration of the original holy vessels. In Jerusalem today, organizations like the Temple Institute have already reconstructed a massive solid gold menorah based exactly on the Arch of Titus measurements, bringing this ancient mystery into the modern day. But for the faithful, no copy can ever replace the divine power of the original pieces crafted under the specific instructions given to Moses on the mountain. Are the true treasures hidden by priests in the desert, locked in unknown dark vaults, or melted down into the foundations of European history? The mystery remains open. Where do you believe the legendary temple treasures are hiding today? Leave your theory in the comments below, like this video, and subscribe for more biblical mysteries. See you next time.